Zweig Group invites all AEC industry leaders to the 2024 AEC Small Business and Entrepreneurship Forum, the premier event for small firms in the AEC sector. Experience innovative strategies and insights on May 21st, crafted by Zweig Group's industry experts. Engage in keynotes and interactive sessions focused on recruitment, retention, and business growth. Join Zweig Group for this unique networking opportunity and take your business to new heights. Secure your spot today and be part of the AEC industry's future. Visit zweiggroup.com for more information. The Zweig Group team looks forward to welcoming you.
Welcome to the Zweig Letter Podcast, putting architectural, engineering, planning, and environmental consulting guru Mark Zweig's straight talk in your ear. Mark has more than 30 years of experience helping AEP and environmental firms thrive. And these podcasts help deliver his invaluable management, industry, client, and HR advice directly to you, free of charge. The Zweig Letter Podcasts let you develop professionally, wherever you are.
Hey folks, how you guys doing? This is Randy Wilburn with another Zweig Letter Podcast. I'm here today with Mark Zweig. We're in our new format that we've talked about, and I'm only going to bring this up these next few times to remind everybody that we've kind of changed the way that we do the Zweig Letter Podcast. No longer are we having forcing Mark rather and twisting his arm to just read his article. We're going to actually talk about it. And today we've got a great topic that I know is probably near and dear to a lot of the hearts of leadership in the design industry, and that's simply paying people properly. And it's an issue now where we are in a talent war in terms of finding good engineers, finding good architects, and making sure that we are adequately incentivizing them with compensation. And so Mark spends a great deal of time in this article kind of laying out what you should be thinking about as if you're an owner or if you run or you're responsible for making sure that your people are properly compensated and, making sure that you put your best foot forward with all of the great talent that you have in your organization. So certainly want to encourage you if you're having some challenges with keeping good people, it probably could be because of salary issues in addition to other dynamics within your organization. So really want to encourage you to listen closely to this. And certainly as with any of our podcasts and any of our topics that we discuss, if you have further questions, you can always reach out to Mark. He is probably the most accessible CEO or individual that runs a organization within the design industry that I've ever run across. So you'd be surprised. You could text him or email him even at 10 o'clock at night, and he may get back to you that evening. So not suggesting that you do that, but if you did, there's a good chance you might get a response right away. So certainly want to encourage you to do that, and we love that kind of participation. But Mark, tell us a little bit about this. And again, it's something that we're always talking about, and because I lead the recruiting group, I'm intimately familiar with the challenges that firms face keeping good people. But certainly one of the biggest issues is pay.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know what's wrong with this business, but everybody acts like they have to do everything the same way. And usually that involves giving people raises once a year, maybe twice a year if they're really progressive. And then at the end of the year, handing out bonuses according to some mysterious formula, which may not exist.
Right.
But there could be all kinds of criteria that people are supposed to meet. And then they dole out a big check or a small check at the end of the year. And that's it. I mean, it just, they act like they can't pay anybody any more than they pay to get somebody better than what they have.
Yeah.
And they act like there's no options that they could consider on their incentive compensation other than the way they do it. And it's pathetic, frankly.
Yeah.
It's not very progressive.
Yeah.
And so, you're out there battling to get good people, and then you can't really get the great people because you're not doing what you need to do to create an environment that good people want to work in.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I've worked with you now for over 20 years, and I remember when I first joined Zweig Group, and I remember you guys saying to me, well, we'll give you. We don't wait till the end of the year to give pay raises. We'll, as you do well, we'll raise your pay. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, that sounds great. I'm sure that it sounds good on paper, but I don't see them putting that into practice. And I think my first year at Zweig White and Associates, which was what we were named then, I think I got like 5 or 6 raises in one year.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, and it really just blew me away. And it's so funny that when I talk to firms about this and explain to them my experiences and how it's a great motivation tool. It's a great way to really encourage your workforce to, really go within themselves to leave as much of it on the table as they can. It's a great way to incentivize people. And I know I personally was incentivized, but sometimes when I've talked to leaders at other firms, it's almost like I'm speaking another language when I suggest that. And
they look at you like you're from Mars or something.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that for everybody, obviously. But if you have really great people, and particularly younger people, you have to be older, and it becomes a little less, critical to give that frequent of a raise to somebody.
Right.
But particularly these younger people that are, highly sought out and going through a crisis, all of them are, because they come out of school and you have vacations and you have semester starts and ends and there's tons of variability, and they get to go outside and their hours aren't the same. And then suddenly they go to work and it's like, holy cow,
what's going on?
Like I go there, it's dark. I go home, it's dark. Right. I have to work. I get very little vacation. This is unbelievably oppressive. I hate this.
Yeah.
A lot of people go through that the first couple of years. It's just, it's very, very shocking to your system.
Yeah.
And then they go somewhere where they don't get any feedback and they get a raise once a year. I mean, it's just like, you guys need to be doing stuff differently. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. I think other industries though do it differently too. I mean, like the tech industry and others, I mean, they're not stuck in their ways in terms of how they, incentivize people and give them increases in salary and do other things. So.
Yeah, we've got to learn from other industries and businesses and how they do things. But I just think the more chances you have to give somebody some positive reinforcement, you should take advantage of those. And also, you're sending the signal out. We want you here. We don't want you to be looking for another job. You're not going to have to go somewhere else in order to do well.
Yeah.
In order to get ahead. You're not locked into this structure of engineer 2 gets, $59,128 to $63,433 per year. And you can't break out of that until you get, 3 years of experience beyond your 4-year accredited, engineering degree or whatever. I mean, it's just, you've got to be willing to break out of it and show people you care sooner and more frequently, and I think you get a different result then.
Yeah,
and it applies to the bonus situation too. It's not just the raises; it's the whole bonus program. The whole idea that companies conceal their financial performance from their employees, and then the owners, in their wisdom about how everybody does their job, in some cases, people that are 6 levels below them in the hierarchy. They're going to dole the money out, and it makes them feel like they're important and they're the lords of the castle or whatever. And I'd rather just share the financials with everybody and make a decision on how much money the employees are going to get in terms of the profitability and pay that out. And if you're part of the team, you get a share of it. If you're if you don't deserve to get that share, then we either need to reform you or we need to get you out off the team. But if you're there, you should get your share.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot different than the way people think. I think most people in this business, they want to punish people. It's like, Joe didn't do what I wanted him to do. I'm going to, send a strong message out and give him no bonus this year.
Right.
Okay, well, now we just made Joe even more demotivated. The problem is Joe probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Okay? Not that what we paid Joe, that's a secondary problem.
Right.
And if Joe's really that bad, he's got not that many options to make a change.
Yeah.
So what do we have? We got a person who's still there and more demotivated, which ultimately causes bigger problems for us.
And
Yeah,
and that's one of the things that I'm always telling as a recruiter. I'm always telling candidates, especially really good and talented engineers and architects, that look, you have a built-in market. If you're not being adequately compensated where you are, you can go somewhere else and be compensated properly. And so I think firm leadership needs to understand that, especially with good people, that if you allow things to just kind of meander along and you don't take or address the challenges that you run into in terms of compensating people properly, that they will leave and they will go somewhere else because, because they're being taken care of. And I've even told people that, this time of year, we happen to be recording this in November. So we're towards the end of the year where people find out whether they've gotten a raise or they're getting a bonus or maybe they're getting a promotion. And these are all issues that come up, and we are going to, I always tell these firms to be mindful of that, because if they don't take care of their people will walk, and, they can easily go right down the street and find a job elsewhere. So
it's going to get worse. It's a terrible problem right now, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's not even so much the pay as a motivator as much as it's something you got to do or they leave.
Right.
I mean, it's even more elementary than that.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, the talent problem is going to compound. Hot economy. Every sector's doing well. If we do, in fact, have a big investment in infrastructure, which it looks like the next president claims is going to be a priority, you're going to see already overloaded firms, already understaffed companies in a position that is, and that's going to be, much worse.
Yeah.
And so that's a good problem to have if you're able to get the bodies that you need and keep those people there doing their job.
Yeah.
And costs are gonna go up, but volume's going to go up. Project quality can improve. I mean, it's just the reality of it. You're going to have to be paying more, and you're going to have to be paying people differently. And I always say too, it's not necessarily more. If I can give somebody a $5,000 raise, or I could give them 4 raises at $1,100 or $1,250 each. Maybe it's better to spread it out, show more love along the way.
Right. So
Eh,
that could be one solution and one way to do it. If you're going to give a person a raise, just break it up over time as opposed to just waiting till the end of the year. It's like,
That's right.
You tell somebody, oh, you did a great job in February, but it's now December. We're so proud of you. Here's your $5,000 raise.
Exactly.
When they do something really great in February, give them a bump.
Yeah.
And then if they do something again in June, give them another bump. And by the end of the year, you're like, okay, well, this is what we thought we were going to give this person. Here's where we are. And this is the difference that we're going to make up at the end of the year, as opposed to saying, well, we're going to wait till the end of the year. You may be waiting to the end of the year, but that person left October 31st.
You got it. And this also applies to just hiring new people. I mean, I love it when I get these people that, contact me and they're unhappy with everybody they have in a certain job category. They need someone better. And then what are we going to pay that person? Well, what do we pay everybody else? I mean, it's just, it's like, what? I'm shocked to hear you say that. You just told me you weren't happy with any of them that you have now.
Yeah.
And then that's going to set the constraint for what you'll pay somebody else.
Yeah.
You're never going to get better people unless you pay more for it, for them. I mean, it's just, anyway, it's a challenge. Everybody feels like their profitability is constrained as it is. Costs go up. Once salaries go up, it's hard to take them down. I mean, all those things are true. But, you are in this incredibly competitive employment market.
Yeah.
And talent's going to be harder and harder to find and harder to keep. So this is one of the tools in your toolbox is, the salaries, and another tool is the bonuses. And then you have other things you can give away too.
Yeah.
That are rewards for people.
So, I want to close and end with this last thought or idea, and certainly get your feedback and thoughts, just given that, you wrote primarily the first book on HR in the design industry, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. There's been this movement lately of firms becoming what I would say, and I'm using air quotes here, really transparent about pay by posting salaries. What are your thoughts about that? I think I know what they are, but I would love to just hear your thoughts about that. And do you think that I know some firms say, well, it creates the intended effect that it starts to ramp up individuals in terms of, people showing what they're really worth, as opposed to having a negative effect by sharing salaries that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's good to share salaries. I think it's, that's one of the things I think it's just not going to be a positive. I do believe in sharing all the financial information.
Right.
But as soon as somebody hears what the other guy makes, they could be happy. But if the guy in the cubicle next to me makes $1 an hour more, then I'm depressed.
Right.
It's hard to keep people from talking, though.
Yeah.
But I try to, you try to discourage people and tell them you really shouldn't talk about that because you don't know what kind of an effect it's going to have on somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, but it's hard to stop. And the word does get out sometimes, but I certainly would not publish it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, you heard it here, folks. First, folks, from Mark Zweig. And again, that was a discussion on the article that he wrote in the Zweig letter called Paying People Properly. Mark, thanks so much again for just sharing your insight on this weighty topic. And certainly would love to hear back from those that have listened to this to get your thoughts on the issue and maybe even some of the challenges that you're dealing with when it comes to properly incentivizing and compensating your workforce there within your organization. So, and maybe if you're not being properly incentivized or compensated, we'd love to hear from you as well and some of the challenges that you face. But again, thank you so much for participating in this episode of the Zweig Letter Podcast. Listen, I certainly want to encourage you. We have a free gift for you. Please visit TZL.zweiggroup.com. We've got a free 6-week subscription to the Zweig Letter. It is the longest running newsletter in the design industry, I believe. It's been running continuously since 1992. And certainly you can go here and hear Mark Zweig's thoughts on a regular basis. He has an editorial that he shares each week. And several of us, myself and others, write articles on a monthly basis. You can hear great ideas about M&A, about recruiting, about retention, about valuation, ownership transition, strategic planning. It doesn't matter. Whatever topic that is business-related topic that's relevant to your organization, we discuss it in this Zweig letter. So certainly want to encourage you to please take that free gift. We've got some new pricing coming out in 2017 that we can't wait to share. But we want to make the Zweig letter an indispensable tool that's available to everyone. It shouldn't just be for those that are in the C-suite, but it should also be for that entry-level project engineer and architect to gain some new information and new insight for the industry that we're working in. So certainly want to encourage you to take part in that. Please share this podcast with others. We'd love for you to check us out on iTunes and give us a 5-star ranking or review if you like what you hear. If you don't like what you hear, please email us and let us know. We would love and welcome your feedback so that we can continue to make this the best podcast for the design industry possible. So thanks again so much, folks, and we hope that you have a great day. We will see you next week. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to this Zweig Letter Podcast. We hope that you can apply Mark's no-holds-barred advice to your daily professional life. For a free 6-week subscription to the Zweig Letter, please visit freetzl.zweiggroup.com to gain more wisdom and inspiration, in addition to information about leadership, finance, HR, and marketing your firm. Subscribe today.